Hey detectives, it's Jetpack here with my second video in my Nancy Drew Message in Haunted Mansion Golden Gardenia Sims 4 build. If you're new here, welcome. This is a channel my boyfriend and I use to show our love for video games, and I specifically do a lot of Nancy Drew content. In my first video, I went over building the exterior and the landscaping for the lot. I also realized that I didn't put wood on the exterior patio, so I'm doing that now as well. In this video, we're going to be tackling the entryway of the mansion. Also here, you'll see I was looking at the patio area and realized that it desperately needed some benches, so I'm adding some Victorian-ish looking ones now. I personally prefer a much more cushiony looking bench, but this seemed to go more with the style. I ultimately ended up with this white bench because I felt it really popped and went with the style. While you watch my indecisiveness, I'll let you know that I did several other Sims builds based on the other Nancy Drew games, so check those out on our channel if you're interested. I also found this cute little white sign that I feel that Abby and Rose would use to advertise their business. I thought it was necessary to start with a key object in the game, the chandelier. And I'll also say that it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that Louis Chandler was kind of a hint that the chandelier would play a big part in the endgame for Message in a Haunted Mansion. There really aren't any great, deep, rich green wallpapers in The Sims, but I felt like this green was close enough. These are the infamous stairs where the endgame challenge happens, as well as we experience a couple different haunts. I wanted the Sims build to have stairs that were similar to the game because of the puzzle that is on the stairs in the game. These builds can take me a really long time because I find myself obsessing over details like this. Here I'm adding the light fixtures you can see on either side of that beautiful stained glass door. Which I don't even think The Sims 4 does that door justice. I think that door is beautiful in Message in a Haunted Mansion. Here I'm trying to find the perfect fitting entryway table. Now these are covered up by a white cloth in the game, so I have a little more liberty at what I get to choose. Oftentimes I'll pick my favorite couple of different options and then go with the one I like more. You'll see that here. Now in the game, Abby and Rose are still going over their renovations, but you can see this little bench in the corner here. I combined two sofas to make it wrap around. It took me a solid 10 minutes to find the right curtains for this build, so I cut all of that out. One thing that I never noticed before is that there are smaller chandeliers like these near the entrance. And it makes me wonder where the ropes for those are. A couple chairs for the entryway, and you'll see here my indecisiveness about the best rug. What do you think? Did I end up with the best option? Let me know in the comments. Then in the game, there are these gold mirrors on both sides of the doors. And I totally forgot that I changed these chairs once again. We'll see if I do it again by the time this build is over. There's also this gorgeous little sitting area over here. This is the spot of one of Abby's many haunts. Now as a kid, I never really noticed the chair was indented in this spooky scene, and it kind of raises up as if somebody was just sitting there. I always just heard the hiss and thought that was spooky enough. I struggled a lot to find a table that was similar to in the game, and I finally settled on this one. Here I'm adding the light fixtures. And I did resize this table in The Sims, which causes some issues when you try to set things on top of it, which is why you see the lamp hovering here. On this wall in the game, we can find a picture of the mansion, and I assume it's a pretty old picture, so I went with this kind of black and white photo of this building in its place. Here I'm doing my best to position some other pictures around it, as the wall has kind of a cluster of different photographs and different kind of documents. A side note, a small gripe I have with The Sims 4 content is that a lot of the photos are very modern. There's not a lot of traditional stuff that's not from the Vampires pack. Sometimes I want some traditional looking decor and I don't want it to look like it's a vampire. I felt that these pictures that looked like they were kind of from the 1920s fit really well here. It feels like Abby dug these up when she was looking through the documents, and these are the kind of photos she had framed professionally. In the game, she talks about having a photograph of Lizzie Applegate wearing men's clothing framed. Some more rug indecisiveness here. I'm kind of sensing a theme, and I think I might have to have my rugs picked out before I record my next build. I added a grandfather clock, realized my stairs were unfinished, and also the whole upper area did not have any wallpaper, so I added that now. At first I started to build a little seating area here, but then I realized there were already a ton of seats in this room, and there really isn't anywhere to check into the bed and breakfast. So I decided to put a little reception area here. I gave them a computer to be able to look up guest reservations, as well as a sign that I imagine shows any events happening at the bed and breakfast or what kind of meals are being served there. That sort of thing. And also looked for some clutter to add to the desk. One of the most fun things to do with builds is to add little things that kind of personalize the space and make it seem lived in and real. Next, we have the very arduous task of cluttering up these walls with all sorts of photographs. And I'll say it again, it's very difficult to find things that look older and not vampire related. So there's actually a lot of vampires on the walls of the Golden Gardenia. These builds really have me look at the locations in these Nancy Drew games under a whole new light. I don't think I ever noticed that a large portion of these stairs is actually wood paneling. So I added that in here. There's also kind of an indented arch area, but it was just too complicated to include in the build. It seriously was such a challenge to find pictures that went with the theme, the whole Victorian vibe, and not repeat them a ton of times. But I think I did a pretty decent job. You may notice that the upstairs hallway doesn't quite exactly match the game. In the game, there's kind of an additional mini hallway that leads into the hallway where the ladder is, where Nancy scrapes off the tiles. But I just couldn't get it to work quite right. I may try again before I decorate that hallway. TBD. There are a couple light fixtures up here, so I just added those in and shifted around the paintings to work with it. In the game, there is a runner all along the stairs, but I don't think that's possible in The Sims unless you have some custom content installed. I do not do that. It's a little overwhelming for me. I may get to the point where I can do that, but for now, I do not. So instead, I added these few rugs at the top to fill in that space. I nearly forgot to put in the place where the gold is hidden the entire game. I was disappointed that I couldn't add phoenix heads to the posts at the end of the stairs. But at least I got my wood inlay where the gold is hidden. Here I'm adding in some paintings to fill in the space on the walls. This is the area that was covered with scaffolding. I can kind of put whatever I want on there. Before I could take my final pictures and video walkthrough tour, I felt I had to add the wallpaper to the upstairs hallway as well. Without further ado, introducing my Golden Gardenia Sims 4 build. Well, at least the entryway. It's gonna take me quite some time to finish this whole thing. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing these Sims builds, so you're gonna see more videos like these. Be sure to like and subscribe, as well as check out my other Nancy Drew Sims 4's builds. Let me know what you think of my rendition of the Golden Gardenia from Message a Haunted Mansion down below.